Shall I do the intro or not? Shall I just leave it silent at the start? Don't go silent on me. Oh, Ian was going to hop on, but he's going to watch the United game instead. Even though he said, "I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do the scary Christmas stories," and I've got a few. Good evening and welcome to another Fortean Words. Hobbit's just run out the back because we were going live. I've got Fraser with me. Fraser returned from the dead again.
Yeah. I'm alive, just about.
Fraser is alive. It's Christmas. I've got the Southern Comfort on, but I'm not going to drink too much.
Mouth was full of... Have you seen it? They're these chocolate wafers that look like Pringles.
Sorry. I coughed.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. You got the orange ones?
Yes, I've got the orange ones.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, really nice. So, tea ceremonies. What's that all about? I've got a tea ceremony. I boil the kettle. I've got a teapot.
Yeah.
I put my tea into the pot, and then I pour the hot water in. And then, because I'm, a foreigner and all that, I pour my tea into a bowl and mix it half and half with milk. And then I can dip my scones, sandwiches, or croissant into that. And I love it. That's
you
my
love
tea
it,
ceremony.
you slag.
I love my tea ceremony. If there's any Japs in the audience, you're welcome to my Hobbit hole. I will do a tea ceremony for you.
Yeah.
We can have jam.
We'll
jam
show you how to
sandwiches.
do one properly, where you just make the tea and then drink it.
I will do crumpets and with strawberry or blackcurrant jam, and you can have that with your cup of tea or your bowl of tea.
I'll put some stories in. Like this is going to be like probably people who feel a bit sick this Christmas.
Yeah.
Just put some real life disappearances, murders, etc. Whatever you want to do. Did you want to do Glenn Miller Hobbit? Because then we can reference Red Dwarf. You can keep the Smegger. We don't want him.
Oh, I thought we were.
Do you remember DNA? Did DNA the one where Lister gets turned into RoboCop? When because Rimmer goes, it's aliens. They've probably brought Glenn Miller back, haven't they? You can keep the Smegger. We don't want him.
Okay. The one I wanted to do Dennis Miller. Where is he now?
Oh, who is Dennis Miller?
Not Dennis Miller.
Dennis Nielsen.
That's the one. Yeah.
Well, he's got another 6 feet to go because he's dead.
YouTube.
He's fucking dead, you cunt. He's there in his bed and he's dead, you cunt, and you're laughing.
So I was going to look at Fortean Words on YouTube, and then the first thing that's up in the For You page is How Clean Is Your House? Season 2, Episode 11. Vincent Stepp, Newcastle.
Do you want a quick word about Owen Benjamin? He's now full on science believer.
Owen Benjamin.
Yeah, because of snipers. He's bumped into a sniper down the pub and now he's an expert on what's it called? What's it called? That thing? What do they call the Earth rotation thing?
The Coriolis effect.
Yeah, the Coriolanus effect.
So when you've got a projectile and it goes on like sufficient distance from its source of power, the barrel of a gun in this case, eventually the Earth will rotate behind it. And as we all know, that's why it's virtually impossible for planes to go from west to east, but it's very quick for them to go east to west. That's why if you say you want to go from New York to London,
So in theory, a plane's travelling against the flow of the Earth. So should it be more difficult or just take longer?
Right. So the Earth, if I look up what the rotation is at the equator, we can infer what it'll be from other places. It's 0 at the poles, or well, it's like an inch every 24 hours. So let's have a look. Rotational speed of Earth, and let's see if I can find like a diagram. Because
but again, as per usual, the globe cucks answer one question and bring up 3 more, don't they?
Well, the fun thing about this is I think it's a good topic of conversation because it's very interesting. So, I've got a thingy here, rotational velocity. Now, I'm not sure if you guys remember this, but there was a eclipse chaser flight, which the Concorde would chase the eclipse.
Yeah.
As it was fast enough to go faster than the rotational speed of the Earth. So for a long time, until the alignment of the sun and the moon went out of phase.
So in theory, the Concorde was chasing the sun as it went down.
It was chasing both of them until the moon and the sun no longer were in total eclipse.
Yeah.
So you could experience the entire duration of the eclipse as the Concorde was fast enough to observe it.
Yeah.
So I've got this image here at the equator. It's 1,000 miles an hour. Around the northern United States, so New York and Seattle, it's 900. Upper Canada, it's 500, and towards the polar region, it's 200 miles an hour. So, yeah, if a plane's flying at, well, they use knots, don't they? So let's say 500 knots is 600 miles an hour. Well,
is that an aeronautic knot? I mean, is an aeronautic knot different to a aquatic knot?
I am going to round it up to 600 miles an hour. Let's just say aircraft do 600 miles an hour, which is probably close to that. So if you do London to New York, you fly in this sort of weird, you fly up towards the pole, you go down through Canada and you end up down through New York because that's a shorter distance than going from point to point.
Yeah.
And it also means that if you're flying from London to New York, because you've got the rotational velocity of 900 miles an hour, you effectively go 1,500 miles an hour relative to the Earth.
Mm.
But then when going back, your speed is still 600 miles an hour, but the Earth's rotating at 900 miles an hour.
So that's effectively 300 miles an hour.
So effectively, you're doing minus 300 miles an hour. So you'd leave New York, you'd head east, and then New York would disappear from you at the space of 300 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Maybe that's another reason why you go up north from the pole, because otherwise the Earth's rotating behind you.
Yeah.
And I think this is the other thing I find about this, like the idea, the gradient of 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. And then you've got, how many thousand miles is it from the equator to that? I used to remember. Do you know, I was very bored once. I was listening to this.
Like 24,000 miles, like 12,000 mile diameter, right?
Do you not get a cross effect then?
24,000 miles an hour.
Do you not get so if you're going straight up the Earth, like, aren't you having some sort of cross effect as well?
Well, the bit I find it interesting that the gradient in Earth doesn't lead to more violent storms. Now, some will point out, however, like violent or mild the storms are, hurricanes and typhoons will never cross the equator, and I find it interesting. But I'll have to do a bit more looking into that because I want to know where do you find typhoons and hurricanes in the world? As I've never heard of a typhoon in Australia, and I've never heard of a hurricane in Russia or China. So these seem to be localized to the Gulf of Mexico or maybe the Pacific Rim. Interdimensional lizard said supposedly the jet stream makes it quicker to go from America to here. So the jet stream is so fast it counteracts the east to west 900 mile an hour rotation which you get around that latitude.
Yeah.
It's an interesting subject, and I think it bears a bit more investigation because it just surely it should just be a case of don't fly up to the pole and down, just ride the east to west, and then you could probably make an argument to say, well, actually, it would be faster to travel from New York to London by heading west because then you'll be going at 1,500 miles an hour. And if you're trying to go from west to east, you won't be able to do it because most commercial aircraft are too slow. In fact, all commercial aircraft are too slow. The Concorde was the only one that could go faster than 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So yeah, an interesting head scratcher that. Why is east to west?
Answer one question, get two more. The average day in the life of a globe cock.
So, when I used to fly to Malta, it was quicker flying there, where you're sort of flying south east, than flying back, where you're going north.
Yeah, but isn't that because you knock off the Central European time or whatever the time difference is?
No, I'm saying that the actual journey time, it would be like 3 hours to travel southeast to Malta from any of the London airports.
Yeah.
In about 3 hours, 20 minutes. And I found that very interesting. And I asked the cabin crew and they said, we don't know. We'll ask the pilot. And they came out and said, it's because the prevailing jet winds are constantly going in that southeasterly direction that lends extra speed to the aircraft as it travels to.
So it's a Fata Morgana that causes it then?
It's a Fata Morgana, yeah. the jet streams, these jet streams.
You know the jet streams.
You know, they go around in predictable patterns, the jet streams. Well, trade winds as well. I'm not scoffing the idea.
Because a jet stream would imply to me that it's a wind, not a gravitational force.
I'm not dismissing the idea of predictable and continuous streams of air. Why they exist and why it happens is a very fascinating subject of fluid dynamics, and maybe one of these days we'll cover it when I do one on Victor Schauberger and his work in fluid dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are you ready for some scary Christmas? I did put some in for you to read as well, I bet.
Oh. Yeah, Dennis Nilsson. What was his Christmas like? Was that scary?
I think there was a lot of quote unquote KFC involved.
Yeah. Dennis Nilsson, for those not familiar with it, was a homosexual man, a pink news reader.
I think he had a really weird title, didn't he? Because his was Killing for Company, whenever they talk about him.
He was a avid fan of Pink News, and his big
inspiration to what's his name, the Milwaukee Cannibal, Dahmer, yeah.
Yeah. He was.
Did he eat people? Fucking hell, grim.
Yeah. And he'd flush their bones down the loo, and then when whatever Dino Rod or whatever the company was called to unblock it, they noticed like human bones, and he sort of tried to dismiss it as someone must be flushing KFC down the loo.
Just a prank, bro.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, that's a big chicken. This fucking theme of, you know.
He'd regularly do tire fires in the lawn to burn.
Yeah, because he had the best bit was when he decided to move from a downstairs to an upstairs, and he thought it'd have no effect on his hobby at all.
Oh.
Yeah, he's he's just like. I do hope that Bleep, his dog, went on to have a full and happy life. Well, probably not after the horrors he saw.
Yeah, I hope he didn't get any leftovers.
But we're not here to kink shame the homosexual community and what they get up to in the privacy of their own bedrooms.
Yeah.
That's
as long as it's in his own bedroom, it's not hurting anyone, right?
If it's two consenting adults and one of them happens to get murdered by the other, then who are we to say that's like?
I think it'd be quite bigoted if we did say anything.
Yeah, and I don't want to be called a bigot by Pink News, the premier homosexual rights activist publication of the United Kingdom. pinknews.co.uk. Brought to you by pinknews.co.uk, our Christmas episode.
So anyway, on to our happy Christmas episode. Happy joy.
Yes. Merry Christmas, Dennis Nielsen.
When
Bastard.
Merry Christmas, Charlie Manson. Do you remember the South Park episode?
I do remember that episode. He helps them solve the case or whatever it was.
When 37-year-old Patty White offered down on her luck Michelle O'Dowd a place to stay over this festive period, Michelle was delighted at the Christmas spirit being shown to her, but White had an ulterior motive. One involving stealing all of her new housemates' credit cards, killing her and leaving her among a trashed Christmas tree to look like a bungled burglary. The scene was discovered by Michelle's twin brother Phil, who went in to check on her after she failed to show for work. There, amongst the pile of wrapped Christmas presents, he saw his sister's foot. Patty White had been beaten and strangled the 67-year-old, and left her among the gifts. She received a 45-year sentence from a South Carolina judge for a vile crime. One good thing about the Yanks, they do know how to give a good sentence for a murder, don't they?
Yeah. If I was here, he'd have got a fucking, community order.
Yeah. She'd have gone, it's not my fault, I'm mentally ill, and the voices tell me to do it. Oh, well, that's all right then, so we won't offer you any custodial at all. You can carry on wandering about.
You're definitely safe if the voices tell you to murder people and you're unable to stop.
Yeah. Well, it's not your fault, so it's not really fair to lock you up, is it?
Yeah.
So, Victoria, Australia, it's Christmas Day 2013. Unlucky for somebody. But instead of spending the day with his loved ones, William Bill Stevenson pays the ultimate price for keeping poor company, as his friends, meth addicts Daniel Kerr and Darren Lewis, kill him in one of the most violent ways conceivable. If you're going to spend Christmas with somebody, try not to spend it with meth heads.
Yeah, spend it with crackheads instead. It's a far more enjoyable time.
Are you less likely to end up murdered if you... Because meth heads, they've always got to be doing something. I think that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, well, crackheads are usually in the bathroom and getting all paranoid and for fuck's sake.
Their motives...
Merry Christmas.
Their motives not entirely clear. The pair drove Stevenson out to the bushland and began beating him around the head with a large rock. Kerr then stabbed the man to death while cackling about their Kill Bill plans. See, that's a movie, so that's funny. The couple then set the car alight and casually walked home. Thankfully, they would soon be arrested, charged and convicted soon afterwards. Are you enjoying the Christmas period so far, Hobbit?
Beautiful.
I am very happy that they've discovered the tomb of St. Nicholas, who, by the way, is Father Christmas. This Sinterklaas nonsense is Dutch propaganda to try and get us to speak the horrible pig grunt polder swamp language, and I won't stand for it.
I thought Sinterklaas was German. That sounds German to me.
Sinterklaas is Dutch. Okay. And I refuse to use any variation of
Dutchisms.
These fucking rootless Americans, no culture of their own. Why can't you just call it Father Christmas like a normal human being?
Yeah.
Fuck you. Anyway, St. Nicholas, his tomb's been found. Yeah. Well, it's just more and more...
godless heathens BTFO'd.
Once again, Shroud of Turin been double confirmed as being real and genuine, and it is the depiction of the face of our Lord Jesus Christ. And the tomb of St. Nicholas has been found. Atheist BTFO forever.
There were 4 of them, and they were called themselves the Downtown Posse. To the police and courts, though, they were simply Laura Taylor, 16 years old, DeMarcus Smith, 17, Heather Matthews, and Marvellous Keane.
DeMarcus.
And Marvellous Keane.
DeMarcus Johnson Jefferson Washington Brown.
Yeah, was his father a Dr. Reverend Pastor?
his father was just going out for a pack of smokes 20 years ago.
Well, less than 17 because Demarcus was only 17.
Jamarcus. Did he have red
Demarcus.
shoes on?
No, by some miracle, they actually did leave 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a Christmas miracle. He came back 3 years later and then left again. Between Christmas Eve and Boxing Day 1992, the gang went on a murder spree in Dayton, Ohio that would see 5 innocent people die and 4 seriously injured. Murdered for not liking a gift enough. Do we need to look for this story now?
Yeah.
Do you want to know more about the downtown posse? Right, let's have a look. Because you can't just go murder for not liking a gift enough and then just leave it at that, can you?
Yeah, we need to know what the gift was that caused people to die, right?
Excuse me.
So the first person they killed was Joseph Wilkerston on December 24th, 1992. Not a thing was stirring in the house, especially not joggers. Youths.
It begins with an N, ends with R, and you definitely don't want to call a black man a neighbour.
Neighbours. Taylor figured would pay them for hold on.
I've been watching the Boondocks and I forgot just about Uncle Ruckus. And it's like,
TV. Is this what they were killed over?
I don't know. Hold on, I'm trying to find out. So they teamed up to rob. So they thought Joseph Wilkerson would pay Taylor for sex. So he was an acquaintance of Taylor. They met up Wilkerson and the protector wanted to have an orgy with him. After a drink, all 4 went into Wilkerson's bedroom where they held Wilkerson at gunpoint. Well, they held him on gunpoint, according to the grammar in this Wikipedia article, which is terrible.
Yeah.
Do you hold someone on gunpoint, or is it at gunpoint?
That's right.
Yeah, it's not on gunpoint.
Yeah, but are they going to do the next bit saying what had happened was? Oh, that was another thing in the Boondocks.
Yeah.
Like there was Grandpa was relating. I forget his name, but anyway, Grandpa was relating a story of something or other, and he said, "Well, what had happened was," and it's like they unironically say what had happened was.
The trio found a 32.32 caliber Derringer, which Keane used to shoot and kill Wilkerson by discharging the gun at his chest with blankets covering the body to muffle the noise. Taylor also shot Wilkerson in the head after Keane stopped shooting. After they murdered Wilkerson, the trio fled the house in one of Wilkerson's 2 cars.
This is another mystery.
Yeah.
And it's one of those mysteries that most people, I'm sure, haven't given a second thought, but whatever happened to the brand Wilkinson sword? You don't hear much about them anymore.
Speaking of that, the next murderer was Danita Gullette. Not Gillette, Gullette.
Oh.
Gullette.
Oh, okay. I was, that's fine. There's one here I want to read.
They should have called these the razor blade murders or something.
Yeah.
Because they killed Wilkerson's sword and Gullette next, didn't they?
Gullette, the best a murder victim can get.
Taylor, Keane and Smith, who were all armed with guns, went walking together and they chanced upon Gullette, who was calling someone on a payphone. After this, Smith and Keane drew their guns and the former forced Gullette at gunpoint to take her shoes off. Why are they always like this? Smith and Keane shot Gullette to death before they made off with her shoes and jacket.
They had Jordans, those trainers, mate.
Well, they probably Jordans, yeah.
Yeah, they had Jordans. Yeah.
At the time of her death, Gullette was a high school senior and part-time fast food restaurant employee who had a 2-year-old daughter. 2-year-old daughter in high school.
Okay.
Next comes Jeffrey Wright. After killing Gullette, the group went back to Wilkinson's house to spend the night, but on the same night, the group decided to target a 3rd victim. The 3rd victim was Jeff Wright. I mean, is the middle bit superfluous or what? It was the ex-boyfriend of Matthews. After he confronted Wright at their apartment and argued with Wright, Smith used the gun to shoot Wright in the legs 4 times, but Wright was able to escape to a neighbour's house and he survived the shooting.
Oh, shit.
So, on to Christmas Day now.
Shall I do a story, or you're still doing the same one?
Yeah, this is the same one.
I'm champing at the bit, you see. So that's all.
No, what you want to do? You want to do Glenn Miller? Do you?
No, well, no, actually, no. It's about this girl called John Bennett Ramsey.
Oh yeah, murder of Richmond Maddox. So they killed Maddox. Murdered Sarah Abraham. Oh, oy vey. And the shooting of Jones Pettus.
Didn't Maddox once hold the record for being the internet's terriest man, and then India got online?
And then they killed Marvin Washington and Wendy Cottrell. Murder trials and
no relation.
There's no mention of the gift.
Yeah, what is this gift?
What is the gift?
Oh, I know what it was. It was that stupid animatronic fish, singing fish. You remember when that gift?
Oh, the Billy Bass. The Billy Bass.
Yeah. I mean, they even put Tony Soprano into a murderous rage with the Billy Bass.
Yeah.
The singing fish, yeah.
Yeah, he hated that fish.
Yeah, it's because it reminded him when he killed Pussy.
What a stupid name.
Was it Tamagotchi? Was it a Tamagotchi?
Your big pussy. No, the Billy Bass. You don't remember the Billy Bass that would look like a trophy, but it sung.
Yeah, I know.
And then it turned around and carried on singing at you.
I'm saying, was it a Tamagotchi that they fucking,
Yeah. Oh, it was 1992. It could well have been. How can they dispute?
Yeah.
Maybe it was a Furby. Those things are fucking pain in the ass.
92 is too early. It was probably a Cabbage Patch doll, and it was just getting last year at 92.
No,
do you want to know that? Do you want to know their death row food?
It was 1995. It didn't come out in 92.
What did?
The Marcus couldn't handle the parental responsibility.
Yeah.
Of the Tamagotchi. So when you went,
Tamagotchi was not in 1992. I'm going to look it up now. I think
it was.
Tamagotchi.
I remember it
Anyway, Marvelous Keen. Do you want to know his final meal?
Yeah.
It was a porterhouse steak with A1 sauce.
Availability.
Hold on.
You ready for this?
A pound of jumbo fried shrimp. A jumbo French shrimp. Weren't fried shrimp, it was French shrimp with cocktail sauce. French fries, onion rings, a tube of Pillsbury dinner rolls and butter, 2 plums, a mango, 1 pound of seedless white grapes, German chocolate cake, 2 bottles of Pepsi, 2 bottles of A&W cream soda. When asked if he had a final statement for his execution, he said, "I have no words, Your Honour."
Oh, well, those words.
And then the others were incarcerated.
Wait, so why did the rest of them get off with it then?
No, they all did it.
Yeah, I know, but why were they?
You want to know the rest of the sentences then, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Matthews, Taylor, and Smith, they were all incarcerated. Taylor and Matthews are detained at the Ohio Reformatory for Women in Marysville as of 21. The trio would not be eligible for release on parole for a period of more than 100 years.
Oh, fuck.
so they're eligible for parole in 100 years. So if they get to get to 130, they're laughing. They should be able to get out.
So at that point, it's like taking the quick way out with the other dude.
Yeah, I think the other one got off quite well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh,
close to a sentence,
Close to 32 years after the killing, Smith, who was also a minor when the murders happened, was similarly set to be assessed for parole eligibility on January the 1st, 2025.
Oh shit, that's soon.
So Taylor and Smith next week. Next week, 2 weeks time, yeah. If you want to watch a documentary about this, it's called The Six Slays of Christmas.
What happened to this year? It went by so quickly. I remember it wasn't too long ago.
That's because we were on what's it called? What's the other world called?
Oh,
Bosra.
Yeah, we're going 50% faster than a normal time.
Because we're on Bosra, that's why.
But to me, it feels like it was just yesterday. We were looking at those tunnel rats escaping the tunnels and the soiled mattresses, and they weren't soiled mattresses. It was just dirt. Do you remember we were told not to trust our lying eyes with the mattresses and the baby strollers and the bondage gear and the blood? which wasn't blood, by the way. That was a wacky story.
That wasn't this year, was it?
That was a wacky story. That was in January.
Was it? Fuck.
Yeah.
I thought that was last year.
No, that was this year. So what, like I said, it just feels like yesterday to me. It was really wackadoo. Like, the United States, the New York Fire Department was investigating why a street had collapsed in Manhattan or Brooklyn or wherever it happened, and then there was all these pillars of the community. No, pillars of the community that were very upset that the fire department were trying to ensure the safety of their community and others.
Yeah.
And they got angry and were spitting at them because, the firemen want to keep you safe, so, assault them. That's the reasonable reaction to that sort of thing. Weird Christmas story, hey? Just after Christmas and a collapsing street in Brooklyn. That's spooky. Yeah. Really spooky.
That means they were roaming the tunnels at Christmas time.
Yep. And those screams that people heard, well, that was just their imagination, because there definitely wasn't any bloodstained mattresses and bondage gear and baby high chairs in those tunnels.
Yeah, I think the baby high chairs was the weirdest thing, wasn't it?
Well, they weren't baby high chairs. They were just props for a movie about babies or something. I don't know. I don't remember all their lies. Sorry. Legitimate reasons as to why these things were like that.
Yeah.
And I was just misinformed. Wacky story. Just a really wacky story is all. I'm not saying anything. I'm not judging them. It's not a place here at Pink News affiliated 40 words to judge people and their lifestyle choices.
What they do in the privacy of their own illegal tunnel under New York City is, between them.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. And did anybody crash into the sinkhole and die? No, they didn't. So, no harm, no foul.
No.
Exactly. So, that was a spooky, spooky ghost story.
Right. What's your ghost story then, Hobbit?
Wow, I'm glad you
Your
asked.
ghost story. Your murder story.
So, this is one of those heartwarming stories that will get upvotes on Instagram. The Christmas murder of child pageant. Child pageant queen John Bennett Ramsey. Oh, but it's got an apostrophe over it, so cafe. John Bennett. So it's probably not pronouncing the T. John Bennett Ramsey, which I don't know about you. That's not a female's name.
That is not a female's name.
John is a man's name.
Yeah.
What is this the American fashion of like, oh, you've got a daughter. What are you going to call it? Paul, Steve, Gary, John Benet, Vivian, Adrian. We're going to give girls like men's
Don't forget Lindsey Graham as well. Although he is a bit of a puff, he is a bit of a one of them, isn't he?
American ones, aren't they?
I regret having seen Lindsey Graham's arsehole and the skin he's got on there, which he calls his ladybugs.
Yeah, ladybugs.
Didn't need to. One of the most infamous Christmas crimes of all time happened in 1996 when 6-year-old, I'm going to call her Jennifer Ramsey, because John Benet is not a girl.
Joanna. Is it Joanna? Joanna? No.
Joanna, yeah. Joanna. Joanna Ramsey was allegedly kidnapped from a family's. Allegedly kidnapped from a family's Boulder.
Well, she wasn't kidnapped. She was left in the.
I'm going to reword this. She was allegedly kidnapped.
Allegedly kidnapped and put back again.
Terrible. Imagine watching a film with Hemi, he'd be just spoiling it.
Let me rephrase this because the journalist poorly writes it.
This bit.
She was allegedly kidnapped from a home in Boulder, Colorado, which is where her family resides. Yeah. I think that bit's superfluous. It's like, well, she's a 6-year-old child. It's not like she's got her own house separate from.
She's a strong, independent woman that don't need no man.
Joanna's lifeless body was soon found in the family's basement, launching a mystery that endures to this day. According to Joanna's parents, Patsy and John Bennett Ramsey. So literally, you called your daughter John Bennett after yourself.
Junior thing.
Fuck
it's
man.
Bucket. It's Bucket Hobbit.
It's John Bennett definitely murdered her. Why the fuck would you name your daughter as like? Well, my name's Nigel, so she's going to be called Nigella.
Yeah, but that's like calling her Nigel.
Well, that's
fair,
what
that was a decent AI picture of her the other day in a Union Jack bikini standing on the cliffs of Dover with a Sunday dinner.
That wasn't deep fake. That was real.
Was it? Oh,
yeah. So
Wood.
Still wood, Hobbit.
Yeah, but I'd be thinking of Kim from How Clean Is Your House.
She's quite. She's not cheap to run though. She likes to sniff, don't she, Nigella?
Yeah, but it's Nigel Lawson I'd be worried about. Imagine him being his father-in-law.
Yeah.
Son, I'm not your son. I'm married to your daughter. Son, we have to go to the Masons' temple. You have to pay them £10,000 this month for your dues. I told you I don't want to be part. You're a part of the Masons. You're a third degree. How did that happen? We promoted you in absentia. Now, pay them £10,000.
Come and kiss the goat's feet, yeah.
Where am I supposed to get £10,000 a month? Yeah, my mate who's a second degree Mason's got you this job. You get on £5 million a year. All you have to do is transport children from Ukraine to America. So anyway, according to this is why I would not marry Nigella Lawson, because I don't wish to become a third degree Mason. So, one of the most infamous Christmas crimes of all time happened in '96 when 6-year-old Joanna. Yeah, we said that bit. According to Joanna's parents, Patsy and John Bennett Ramsey, the family first realised that something was wrong around 5:30 in the morning on the 26th of December, when Patsy reportedly found a ransom note in the family's home declaring that Joanna had been kidnapped and was being held for 1,000.
116,000.
118.
I was 118,000. Isn't it? Yeah, which is a bit weird because it's exactly the same amount as a bonus that John Bennett Ramsey received.
It's not that I have actually. Yes, I do have dyscalculia. I can't do I can't do sums unless I write them down, and I can't count. So which just makes it difficult when I'm trying to do stuff like aircraft going east and west. Hours after the Ramseys called the police, John found Joanna's body, because John Bennett, the father, is still alive in the family basement. The 6-year-old had been bound and gagged, bludgeoned over the head, strangled, and possibly sexually assaulted. And then there's a letter here. Mr. Ronnie, listen carefully.
Oh, she was also fed pineapples before she was murdered.
Mr.
In the
Ramsey,
kitchen.
Now, this is a handwritten letter, and the first sentence is "listen carefully!" !
I'm standing here. Was it David Lammy? Listen carefully. Yeah.
Yeah, David Lammy was sat down at the United Nations saying, "I stand here before you." And but you're sat down. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign.
It's Ben Shapiro, isn't it? We are a libertarian collective, a group of individuals.
A small foreign faction. We, and then "do" is crossed out. We respect your business, but not the country that it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed. And if you want her to see,
she's safe and effective. She's all jabbed. She's jabbed. She's got all her jabs. Safe and effective.
You must follow our instructions to the letter. You'll withdraw $118,000.00 from your account. $100,000 will be in $100 bills, and the remaining $18,000 in $20 bills. Make sure that you bring a regulate-sized attaché to the bank. I assume they mean suitcase or something. Attaché.
An attaché case, isn't it? That's what they call a case.
When you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you. Will a white paper bag suffice? I will call you between 8 and 10.
It's got to be a brown one.
Yeah. To the letter, Hobbit. To the letter.
It's got to be made from recycled paper from sustainable forests, FSC certified. I'll call you tomorrow between 8 and 10 a.m. To instruct you on delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I would advise you to be rested. If we monitor you getting the money early, we might call you early to arrange on earlier delivery of the money. And hence,
are these journalists that wrote this letter?
And hence a cashier picking up of your daughter. Any deviation of my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter. And then it says you, and that's the rest of this. I assume it carries on.
Okay.
But that's the only ransom note which feature on this website.
To be fair, the ransom writer did not have a lot of time. They had to write the ransom on a pad they found in the Ramsey's home using the Ramsey's pen as well.
And using the father's handwriting.
Yeah.
Woman's
Patsy's, I think it's very close to Patsy's handwriting, I think.
Before long, the mystery of this shocking Christmas murder gripped the entire nation. John Bennett had participated in a number of... Joanna had participated in a number of child beauty pageants, not the father. And magazines quickly printed photos of the 6-year-old in costumes and full makeup. Some critiqued her parents for letting Joanna participate, and others levied much more serious accusations. As the case unfolded, suspicions fell on the Ramsey family. Not only did the paper and pen used for the ransom note come from the house, but the alleged kidnapper asked for a specific amount of money, $118,000. That happened to be the same amount of money that John Ramsey received as a bonus that year. Some even suspected that Joanna's parents had covered up her murder after the 9-year-old brother, Burke, killed her by accident.
Because they say there's some sort of dent on her skull that would match a model train that Burke could have slung at his sister's head.
Multiple suspects have been considered in the decade since from the family's housekeeper.
Remind me to watch a film with Emmy. He'll just spoil it. Imagine watching The Sixth Sense with Emmy. It'd be like, oh, do you know he's dead?
Hemi will even do anti-spoilers like, oh, in Total Recall, it's all a dream. Then I went and watched it, and I was just like, no, it's not a dream. And
it is a dream. It is a fucking dream. He even sees all the stuff from his dream in the monitor when he's at Recall.
So, when I watched it with my dad, I said, what do you think of this theory that it was all a dream? He says, no, it's bollocks. And it's like, good, I'm glad we were agreed on that. So it's not much my father and I agree on, but we agree on Total Recall, and it's a good film. And I forgot Mark Alamo was in it. He's only in there briefly, but he's a really good actor.
Mark Alamo?
Mark Alamo plays Gul Dukat in Deep Space Nine, and he became a fan favourite, which is why they turned into Space Hitler possessed by demons, who then went and shagged the terrorist woman who everybody hated.
Oh, no, Bashir got cooked.
Bashir wasn't interested in... Oh, no, you're thinking of the young terrorist woman that everybody hated. No, this was the older terrorist woman that everybody hated, Kai Wynn.
Did anybody like any of those people that represented a certain race on Earth?
What, the Bajorans? No, they're really fucking annoying. So anyway, multiple suspects have been considered in the decade since, from the family's housekeeper to a local sex offender who told a friend that he'd heard a little girl, to a man who outright confessed to the name John Mark Carr. But to date, this tragic Christmas murder remains unsolved. It's the father. It's definitely the father.
The mother.
No doubt about it. It's the father. The mother's Munchausen syndrome by proxy. So yeah, the mother and the father, the Ian Huntley and Myra Hindley. That's who they are.
Well, I'd say Kate and Jerry McCann's probably closer.
No, we went over that, and it was next to USAF Air Base, and she was killed by United States Airmen. That's why in Japan they're asking the Americans.
No. What, you get your cases mixed up. I'm talking about the McCanns in Portugal.
Oh, those. Sorry. Yeah. What was the one? Was it Ian Huntley?
You were right. With Huntley and the Jessica and Holly, weren't it?
Chapman. Yeah.
No, they were friends. They weren't sisters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, we covered that story. Ian was a bit sceptical of it. He sort of believes the official narrative, but...
Well, Ian would, wouldn't he?
Well, not always, but I am satisfied in because we see it like everywhere else. The U.S. Air Force is stationed, not just U.S. Air Force, by the way. It's just in this country, it's air bases, but everywhere else, U.S. military personnel stationed. There is like incidents of adult and
It's almost like there's something wrong with Yanks, isn't it?
child sexual abuse. Well, especially the mystery meat ones.
They are a bit loopy, aren't they?
They tend to get sort of moved from base to base around the world, but they've had enough of it in Japan, so like the Okinawa base is being evacuated.
So, right, murdered for not liking a gift enough. This is written really badly. So this is the actual murdered for not liking a gift enough.
It was a Cabbage Patch doll.
So when I get to the gift, you tell me if you should be murdered for not liking it, because it was a good gift.
Oh, was it a Betamax box set of dinosaurs?
No. We'll get there. Well, that's the excuse that 37-year-old Melissa Young gave to police when she was arrested for the brutal killing of her next-door neighbour, Alan Williamson, on Christmas Day 2013. Young later claimed diminished responsibility and that mental health issues were behind this sustained attack. It wasn't me, Your Honour. I'm a woman. I'm mental.
I was going to say diminished responsibility in grounds of I have a vagina.
Yeah. At the time...
That was the case, like, you remember the one we did about the bread knife stabber, doctor, surgeon, student in Oxford?
Yeah. And then she dropped out. Like... After all that, the judge saved her academic career and she dropped out.
Well, the judge was like, you have a very attractive vagina, and for that reason, I'm not going to sentence you to prison. Even though what you did was brutal, and he'll never fully recover from it because the bread knife penetrated his small intestine.
Yeah.
You absolute fucking murdering cunt. Sorry, he didn't die, but I get angry.
Don't know. Young later claimed diminished responsibility on receipt of vagina. Her motive was given as rage due to Williamson dismissively rejecting her Christmas present of. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
It's a troll.
A pair of unisex trainers and a copy of the Sun newspaper's slightly raunchy 2014 calendar.
What?
I mean, imagine him being dismissive of such a top quality gift.
Look, that's not a murdering offence. I mean, it's like, you gave me Kit Kat.
Wait, boobs caused this? Is this what you're saying?
You gave me dark chocolate Kit Kat for my Christmas. Well, it's time to commit a murder.
No, that's not. No, he didn't get. No, he did. He got given those and said this is a bit meh, and then so she murdered him.
Oh shit! Yeah. He didn't like the present of the boobs and the trainers.
He got the present. She didn't. And he was like, "This is a bit shit." She gave a bloke a pair of unisex trainers.
Unisex chip shop.
Oh fucking hell! It's the thought that counts, though, right? I bet that guy wish he'd said that now.
To be fair, trainers take them or leave them. The Sun's filth calendar 2014. That's all right, isn't it? Was he homosexual or something?
Oh, was he one of those dreaded incels I hear so much
these
days? The sight of some titty sent him into a murdering rage.
Yeah.
He wasn't a gooner, guys.
Yeah.
So the kids call me.
He's been practicing NoFap since 2003, and his 11-year streak was just ended that night. And it was a post-murder orgasm or post-orgasm murder.
So Young pleaded guilty to culpable homicide in 2014 and was sentenced to minimum 20-year sentence. Well, she didn't get off with that for having a vagina, did she? Since being jailed at the women's prison HMP Cornton Vale in Stirling, she's seriously assaulted 2 female prison officers. So yeah, she's a girl that's got all of her faculties.
Yeah.
It's a woman.
Yeah.
You
Hobbit, do you want to tell us about Glenn Miller?
he had a band, didn't he?
Yeah.
The Glenn Miller big band. I hate that song.
That's Glenn Miller.
I'd rather listen to the hamster dance than that.
Now do you know why? Do you know why Arnold Rimmer said you can keep the smegger, we don't want it.
Which I know is originally from Robin Hood, but when it's sped up, they call it the hamster dance.
Yeah. You light a little.
It's a great song. It really is. So Glenn Miller, who is he then? And where is that? Ah, there he is.
Yeah.
So, do I want to trust these links from now on? I'm not sure, Discord.
Not sure. Have you ever heard of this website?
Yeah, 80 years later. Oh, I like it when I put it into the simply reader mode. Heavy showed me what that button meant.
Speed reader mode.
I never clicked on it before, and it's great. It turns it for a black background with white text, which is far easier on the eyes these days.
And it knocks out all the adverts and everything like that.
Yeah, well, that's a bonus too. But I'm an old man these days, and I don't like the bright screens. It was Christmas Day, 1944.
Hobbit.
When people...
Hold on one sec.
Yeah.
You hear that, Hobbit?
Oh, you're playing something for the audience. Here we go.
Anyway, that's enough of that.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. There's a copyright strike. So, don't you just love how YouTube has become so litigious in this? It makes doing rich content impossible. It was Christmas Day, 1944, when people heard the news. Glenn Miller, one of music's biggest stars, had vanished. He had boarded a military plane from Britain. Play some Madonna as well.
Yeah, just play some Madonna as well.
Some Michael Jackson, some S Club 7 or whatever's in the charts these days. Just make sure
Oh, it's aliens. They've probably brought Glenn Miller back. You can keep him. We don't want the smegger.
Fuck off, we're full.
Do you remember that one on Red Dwarf, Hobbit?
I do. I did watch all of Red Dwarf. Well, I haven't watched the new episodes, which apparently are quite good. It's better than the season 9. He had boarded a military plane from Britain, bounded for Paris, where he was scheduled to perform for American troops during World War II. But neither crew nor passengers made it across the English Channel. There is no wreckage of Glenn Miller's plane and no definitive answers. 8 years ago this week, he disappeared without a trace. Oh, can I just say, people normally when they prepare green beans, they cut off the tops and tails.
That is 80 years ago this week, because this is a bang-up-to-date article.
2024, yeah. I couldn't be bothered to top and tail the green beans, so I had them with the little stalks as well. And turns out 99% of them are edible.
Yeah.
So they don't look nice, but they taste fine. Miller wasn't even supposed to be on board the small propeller plane. I mean, it's kind of superfluous. I mean, it's 1944. It's not as if people were going around on the Messerschmitt 262. That was a jet aircraft for those not familiar with 1940s technology. But anxious to get going after multiple weather delays, he'd hitched a ride without authorization. It took days for anybody to realise he'd gone missing. The rest of the band eventually arrived in France, and on Christmas Day, as news of Miller's disappearance hit the papers, they played their show without the man who'd brought them together in the first place. The King of Swing. Glenn Miller was the human embodiment of the big band era.
And Hobbit's Hobbit's favourite. Oh, Chattanooga Choo Choo, pardon me, ma'am. Is this the Chattanooga Choo Choo? Do you like that one as well, Hobbit?
I hate all of that. Like
Yeah. What is it? Is it like the clarinet? Is it the clarinet that irritates you on it?
There's just something about it which is really jarring. It's like, imagine you've got like a well-balanced salad, you've got your lettuce in there and tomatoes, and it's got a nice dressing, and then someone just throws in, oh, hang on, no, that would be jazz music. Okay, jazz music would be throwing in an entire raw onion unpeeled into the salad, and you expect to just eat it. Yeah. They called it atonal jazz, which basically just means some spastic is sucking for a trombone. What would swing be like? Look, someone think of an analogy of how to ruin food with something that's just here we go.
Big steaming mug of Ovaltine with it.
You're having a nice mug of Ovaltine, and somebody decides, oh, you know what would really kick this up a notch if we put some mint schnapps in it. There we go. Right. By 1939, his orchestra became America's most popular musical act. His hits like "In the Mood" and "Chattanooga Boo Boo" sold millions of copies, earning Miller the first
Chattanooga Poo Poo, more like.
Yeah. Chattanooga, go fuck yourself, and acclaim from his peers. But behind Miller's success, a world war was raging. So in 1942, at the height of his civilian stardom, he traded a suit and baton for a uniform, enlisting as a captain in the US Army Air Force.
Oh no, look at the way he talks as well, Hobbit.
How do you get, you can just be a captain because we like you?
Yeah.
Hang on. There's a lot of swell guys in the outfit I'm going in, he said to the audience during the performance. And maybe all of us can get together again after this week's over. That outfit was the American band of the Allied Expeditionary Forces, more commonly known as the Army Air Forces Band, an ensemble of 50 musicians founded at General Dwight D. Eisenhower's request. Well, they just say Gen. Dwight D. Eisenhower request. I hate journalists. Proofread your fucking work. My God, how hard is it? Look, brevity is the essence of wit. If your article's too long to be read up while standing, it's too long. Yeah. Just read it out loud and then say to yourself, oh, I forgot to put in a letter here, or I should rewrite that. As band leader, Miller's mission, do you realise we're probably like the first people to ever utter these words out loud?
Yeah.
That's probably like the unique selling point of 40 words is we read journalist stuff and have a laugh at how crap it is because they never proofread. As band leader, Miller's mission, or maybe they do proofread, and this is the best they can do because they're, if you can't succeed in life, become a journalist. If the esoteric and noble art of PE teaching is a bit too highbrow, you could always do a career in journalism. So Miller's mission was to boost the morale of American soldiers stationed.
Yeah, it's like if they wrote Red Dwarf now, it'd be, how did you get into journalism college? Easy, I failed all my exams and applied. They snapped me up.
Yeah, that's it. So the band spent up to 18 hours a day recording and performing dozens of military. Fuck's sake, look, you need 8 hours a day for sleep, right? And ideally, you need a couple hours either end on that. 18 hours a day, just too much. Hang on. There was a lot of hard work, a lot of hard times.
No, this is a different guy. That's NPR's Noah Adams. He probably talks like this, Hobbit.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I never talk about it. You'll be hearing from my lines about the way I talk. There's a lot of hard work, a lot of hard times, a lot of bad dangerous traveling, and I'm just going to be script engineer. And I was like, clear, there's going to make us the band leader. NPR's Noah Adams said in 2002. But Miller's efforts paid off. For soldiers, the band became a symbol of American resilience and of home. The army promoted Miller to the rank of Major. And as just a few months later, on the 15th of December 1944, he vanished.
Well, if you're going to go out at the top, Hobbit?
Oh, like the young ones.
Yeah.
What happened to Glenn Miller? Peanuts Hucko, which is his real name, played clarinet in the Army Air Force's band.
He's American. He probably was christened Peanuts Hucko.
And then what? Did he have a granddaughter named John Bennett Clancy or something?
John Bennett Clancy.
He recalled the state of confusion at Orly Airfield. Orly Airfield in France, where they.
Is that supposed to be Orleans, or is Orly a place in France?
No, Orly is a different place to Orléans.
Okay.
Where they arrived 3 days behind, and with Miller nowhere to be found. Who's talking here? It was a mess, really a mess, he told Noah Adams. There were all these soldiers all around, and the weather was terrible. It was raining, and there was mud all over the place. A missing plane might have raised some more alarms, but the day after Miller took off, the Battle of the Bulge started in nearby Belgium. And who's talking now? Oh, yeah. The planes were going out, and you see these soldiers, they're sending them back to the States.
That's quite ironic, isn't it, Hobbit? Because you are a Belgian that fights the Battle of the Bulge.
I wasn't present at the Battle of the Bulge. I'm not.
No, I mean the Battle of the Bulge. You fight your middle-aged podge.
Oh, I've just negotiated surrender terms with that. So I'm hoping for some favourable conditional surrender. The planes. Oh yeah. Hucko said. Several hours after the band touched down, Army Lieutenant Don Haynes, their manager, tried to find information on Miller's whereabouts. Eventually, he gathered the men. Guys.
Okay then, Hobbit. Let's talk about the structure of words. Like lieutenant. So in lieu means in place of, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
So what's a tenant? Why is a lieutenant not the deputy to a tenant?
Is it like you got a tenancy and the superintendent? So a lieutenant would be like, in lieu of the tenant being here, I am in charge.
Yeah, it's a weird name, isn't it, for something? Because also, don't some people call it a lieutenant as well, don't they?
Well, the old-fashioned British way of saying it was lieutenant.
Yeah,
and that means you've been left in charge.
Yeah,
when the major's not around.
Yeah,
and the lieutenant's there to organise between sergeants and the major.
Yeah.
So Lieutenant Lieutenant Haynes.
Don Haynes.
Don Haynes. Guys, I don't know how to tell you this, but Glenn is unofficially missing. Unofficially. He never arrived in Paris, Haynes said. Hucker remembers...
I can imagine someone going, what, you've lost him like a fucking set of suitcases, you fucking bellend.
Hucker remembers the room full completely silent. He's still unofficial, Haynes said. But it doesn't look good. The plane, it is now speculated, encountered freezing temperatures and heavy cloud cover. A navigation failure likely downed it in the Channel. But next to immediate Earhart, the fate of the aircraft remains the 20th century's most notorious aviation mystery. A musical legacy. Glenn Miller was 40 years old when he disappeared, but his star didn't fade. The Glenn Miller story, a dramatisation of his life starring Jimmy Stewart, was a box office smash in 1954, and while the Army Air Forces band played his last concert in 1945, its successor, the Airmen of Note, continues to perform Miller's songs for fans around the world. Joe Jackson is a former member of the Airmen of Note. And today we have kids in the audience standing up and cheer when they hear, hee hee, Shaman in the mood tonight. Jackson told NPR in 1994, as long as the music's being played, I don't see it declining. I think it's always going to be around in future generations. So coming up and saying, that's ignorant. Don't do that. Yeah.
So on the whole, do you miss Glenn Miller, do you, Hobbit?
No, I do not miss Glenn Miller. I'm saddened that we are still burdened with the shit he farted out. Can I just say, look, America did have a culture, but it was Tartarian, and they tore it all down, and the barbarians lived in their place. They had these beautiful buildings used as libraries and train stations and courtrooms and Capitol buildings, and then they tore them all down and replaced them with these ugly things because, like, American architecture is as circumcised as their soul and the penises of their boys. It's brutal. And then music, I mean, the less said about that, the better. It's like a product of their food with aerosolized cheese, and you got aerosolized jazz music. It's a fucking weapon. And then, of course, hip hop is the modern variant of that, which is, let's just face it, it's like, you know, it's jungle drums to get the ooga boogas to go and be violent and cause decay amongst the inner city and destroy the fabric of society and what little of it remains in the United States. And that's why the United States is known as the nicest third world nation in the world.
December the 28th, 1987. Ronald Gene Simmons. I wonder if his name was born Heimwitz, like the other Gene Simmons. Walked into a law firm in Russellville, Arkansas, or Arkansas, as the locals call it.
Arkansas, potato to potato.
Arkansas, and shot dead a receptionist who he was infatuated with, but who had spurned his advances. That's a great sentence there, journalist. Well done. Then he went into the office of an oil company and shot 2 executives, killing one and injuring the other. He then drove to a convenience store and a former place of work and shot 2 more people, who would both survive. Finally, he would do the same at the Woodline Motor Freight Company, shooting and wounding a woman. He then sat down and waited for the police to arrest him. The spree killing rocked the state, but the murders were merely a bookend to Simmons' evil festive period. Later that year, he released Rock and Roll All Night and appeared in Runaway with Tom Selleck. No, he didn't. 6 days previously, he had shot and strangled his wife, 2 sons and 4 daughters. It doesn't end there either. Simmons then sat in the house among the bodies for 4 days, leaving only to visit a local bar. On Boxing Day, 9 more relatives turned up to visit the Simmons family, including Ronald Simmons' grandchildren. All were killed. In total, he took 16 people's lives that Christmas. On the 25th of June 1990, then Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton signed Simmons' execution warrant and he was killed by lethal injection. Damn. The first and last photograph the Lawsons would ever have taken. North Carolina tobacco farmer Charles Davis Lawson made his wife Fanny and their 7 children... Fanny, her name's Fanny Hobbit.
You know, I was reading about the magic faraway tree the other day because I wanted to know if I missed out on any of the books. So I was tempted to reread The Enchanted Wood. And now, I forgot about this, but there was Mr. Saucepanman, or whatever his name was. He had pots and pans everywhere.
Yeah.
No, it was Moonface, that was it. He was offering Google buns, and I remember Google buns. I don't remember they were called Googles, though.
Was it spelt Google, as in like Google?
As in the search engine, yeah. And this predates like the stupid story I've heard of Google was it was Google, spelt G-O-L at the end, was apparently like, you know, it's a big number, and the mathematician asked his son like what the name of it should be, and be like, direct to Google. Because Americans, you know, his name was John Bennett, and like Sergey Brin and Larry Page, like, yeah, we'll make that the name of our company, except we'll call it Google. And it's like, well, that's interesting because that's exactly the same way as in Enid Blyton's book about Google buns, which is where you got like a plum inside the bun and it's filled with sherbet, so when you bite into it, it's like it tingles in your tongue. Very nice. What I meant to say about that, there's revised editions of the books, and I've read the unrevised editions. So in the revised editions, Dick and Fanny are renamed like Richard and Ebola or whatever, because, did you know that people use the name Dick and Fanny as slurs for genitals? And Dame Slap gets named to Dame Snap because now she shouts at children rather than beating them. Which is awful because they're like, oh no, we can't have children's books about like, you know, bad things happening. It's like, you're fucking kidding me, right? Jack and the Beanstalk, which is one of my favourite stories growing up, is literally about a bone, a giant grinding someone's bones to make his bread.
Yeah.
Why can't we have... Look, children are used to violent stuff. I mean, if they weren't, why would they pull wings off of like daddy long legs and things? Children like. I'm not saying the audience for violence is children, but I'm also saying the children are the violence. Look, just Disneyfication of children's stories has been a disaster for mankind. Case in point, Disney children, which become Disney adults, then go to Disney.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake. Meat Canyon did a video about that recently. English told me about Meat Canyon. They do these horrible animations. Like a recent one they did was about the Costco guys. But oh god, spooky Disney stuff. What were we talking about?
Charles and Fanny Lawson.
Oh yeah, Dick and Fanny from The Enchanted Word.
Yeah.
Good story, by the way. I recommend people read it and read the unrevised edition.
Their 7 children put away on Sunday best on Christmas morning 1929 for they were to go into town and have a professional family photograph taken, a rare treat for such a poor family. Later that day, after settling back home, Charles would set about methodically beating and shooting his wife, along with 6 of the 7 children, until they were dead. The child spared Lawson's eldest, 16-year-old Arthur, who Charles had sent on a needless errand before his vicious massacre. Charles Lawson's motive was never determined.
Horrible.
How about this one then? Kirsty Bammel was about 15 when she was tortured and drowned in a bath by his own sister Magali and her twisted boyfriend Eric Bickleby. It was Christmas Day 2010 when the couple finally killed poor Kirsty after a sustained and brutal 4-day torture session at their flat in Newham, London. How do people with names like this live in London? Who knows? When his body was found, more than 130 separate injuries were counted. The 20-something Congolese couple's excuse: they believed Magali's younger brother was a witch. Eric was ordered to serve at least 30 years in prison, while Magali received a minimum of 25 years for the unimaginably horrific killing. Okay then, how about this then? Lee Shelton was a no criminal and pimp who went by the nickname Stagger Lee. Famous now because of the folk song he would inspire, Shelton wasn't a man to be trifled with, as William Billy Lyons would discover to his cost. This murder took place on Christmas night 1895 in St. Louis, Missouri. Is it St. Louis? It's St. Louis, Missouri, isn't it? Stagger and Billy were drinking and playing cards together in the Bill Curtis saloon when, wouldn't you know it, they got into a dispute. Lyons snatched Stagger's Stetson hat and, well, you've seen westerns. Stagger Lee drew his gun and shot Lyons dead, and the rest is history. History and song. You got a story, Hobbit?
No, I'm just the last of the coffee's leaving my system now, and I feel I'm lagging a bit. So, Fraser, you do one.
What? Do what?
A spooky ghost story about Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's as long as there's been Christmas, there's been spooky ghost stories around it.
Yeah.
It's
but these are just spooky murder stories, and they're not even spooky.
Yeah. Not even Christmas.
They're just sad.
I've got one more. I've got one more while Fraser's looking. It was Christmas Eve of 2004 in the small city of Covina, just outside of LA. Parties dominated the neighbourhood. 1129 East Knollcrest Drive had around 25 close friends and family enjoying each other's company. Around 11:30, a knock at the door came. Standing on the other side of the door, Santa Claus, Hobbit's favourite Christmas visitor.
I hate that term, Father Christmas or Saint Nicholas.
At least that's what the 8-year-old girl who answered the door thought, but it weren't Saint Nick. It was a man called Bruce Jeffrey Pardo, the unstable and violent ex-husband of one of the women at the party. He was holding a 9mm pistol in one hand and a flamethrower in the other. He had a further 3 handguns in his possession. Cruelly and methodically, he went about shooting everyone in his sight before setting alight to the house. 9 people would die and 3 would be badly injured. Pardo left, driving to his brother's house some 30 miles away. He had planned to detonate a series of handmade explosives and then make his escape to Canada, but the fire had caused his Santa suit to melt onto him, causing severe third-degree burns. Instead, Pardo decided to put a bullet in his head. We hope we didn't put you off your mince pies too much. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Oh, that's the other thing. Like, not only is America a fur-board nation, but it's a dry Muslim nation as well. They don't leave out sherry and the mince pie for Father Christmas. They give him milk and cookies like he's some goo goo gaga baby. And they don't even leave a carrot out for the reindeer. It's just like, no, milk and cookies, that's all you're getting.
Yeah, got to get some growth hormone and sugar into him.
Yeah, terrible. At least we treat Father Christmas right. That's why, Father Christmas likes the English, because he's going to get, 6 million glasses of sherry.
Yeah.
I assume there's 6 million glasses of sherry left out for Father Christmas on Christmas Eve. I like Father Christmas. He was always my favourite growing up.
Sinterklaas. Do you like Sinterklaas, do you, Hobbit?
No, I don't. I don't like anything Dutch. I always liked him more than Jesus and Mary and all the other stuff, because it was like, well, here's a man who became a saint and he's now supernatural and he's able to go through it. And the other thing I realised, after a while you start realising it's your mum and dad that, put the presents under the tree and they love you like Father Christmas does. But the older I get, the more I start to realise that Father Christmas is a special thing, and it gives me hope. And if I was a father, it would be something I want to. It's something that when my child eventually does discover the truth of Father Christmas, I'd be like, well, look, son, this is a daughter, or this is it's a special thing, and it's not just for your benefit; it's for ours as well. We all like Father Christmas, and so eventually, when you get to my age, you're able to be Father Christmas, and it's a joy, because I remember as a child.
Fucking hell! Do you want to see a picture of the house that Pardo fucked up?
I liked seeing Father Christmas as a child, so yeah, okay. Let's have a look at this. It's this time of year, I start thinking about Father Christmas and goodwill to all men, and the birth of.
How about the
Lord
Dutch?
Jesus.
Did they deserve goodwill?
Well, the thing is,
that was what happened after Pardo had finished. He did a good job, didn't he? He weren't fucking around, was he?
Very thorough. The thing is, right, and this may strike you as funny, but I've actually had pleasant conversations with Dutch adjacent people before. When I say Dutch adjacent, one of them was an Afrikaner and the other one was a Flemish bloke in Antwerp, and that was the thing as well. I found him very, very generous. Now, admittedly, I sort of hand delivered something for him, which normally the shipping costs were hundreds of pounds or euros. So I did get some very nice bottles of wine out of it, which was a fraction of the cost of the shipping. And generally, I just had a nice day there. So I want to say the Flemish are not as parsimonious as the Dutch. He didn't have to give me that stuff. So I'm very grateful. No, actually, I won't bother mentioning his name, because other people will be like, "Oh, did you know that the guy Hobbit is a racist and he came visit you?" And be like, "I don't know any Hobbit." So ignore me. I'm just rambling. Just going to a town called Rambling On.
Okay then. How about a weird one? 3 girls went missing from a shopping mall.
Mall.
They didn't go. Oh, it's a shopping centre. They called it a centre, but they didn't spell centre correctly. They they spelt it CENTER for some reason.
Yeah, it's funny how they do that.
Yeah, it's really weird. So three girls go shopping. They get bundled into a van. Numerous people see girls being bundled into a van, but none of them decide to tell the police about any of this until after the girls have gone missing.
Have you noticed that most people just... it's learned helplessness?
Yeah.
They won't do anything. Like those videos where like a neighbour is acting out on a train, threatening to kill people, and everyone's just got their eyes downcast, hoping like it's like a bull in the china shop. If you don't look at it, he won't charge at you.
Yeah.
And occasionally you got Daniel Penny who's just like, actually no, I'm going to chokehold him to death because I hate all neighbours.
Or as it actually happened, just hold him so he can't hurt anybody.
Yeah, and then the US court said, Daniel Perry, we find you not guilty of whatever bullshit you've been charged with, and as compensation, here's like 15 neighbours we've all lined up for you to like chokehold to death. And every Thanksgiving, we're going to give you a George Floyd to put your knee on and, 5 times the survivable dose of fentanyl in his system. Yep. Spooky Christmas stories, eh?
Yeah, you got any spooky Christmas stories, Hobbit?
If I can find some spooky Christmas stories...
I'll tell you what they were talking about. Do you remember a TV series called The Box of Delights, Hobbit?
Tell me about it.
BBC children's series where a kid has to guard this box against an evil wizard.
When was this? 1942?
No, it was 90s, I suppose. I don't know. No, they just did a big bit on it in the latest Fortean Times, that was all, so. It's based on a book series. Go on then. I'll tell you about the Box of Delights, because a lot of it happens during Christmas.
Oh, I found some fiction stories, like one of them's called The Snowman. A man stays in the solitary cabin. I'll read this out and let's see if it's any good. A man stays...
Oh, sorry, 1984, so it's fucking before either you two were born, isn't it?
Walking in the air. We're walking in the air, oh yeah. A man stays in a solitary cabin in the middle of a snowy forest. He wakes up in the middle of the night and looks outside. He sees a snowman standing in the distance. Very strange, because no other people live there to make a snowman. The next day, the snowman is still there. He wakes up again during the night and sees the snowman again. In the morning, he goes up for a closer look. Nobody is there. He knocks the snowman down. The following night, something is hitting the window. Dun, dun, dun. It's the snowman! Woo! Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Oh. Spooky Christmas. Carol singers. My grandfather drank, doesn't specify what. My father drank. I never touched the drink. I died of dehydration. Oh. Every Christmas evening, my father and grandfather would gather a group of friends and sing carols house to house. One Christmas Eve, I went with them. It was cold and snowing. We stopped at an odd-looking house. Scary inhabitants of the house offer my grandfather a drink. He drinks, but it turns out to be blood. He dies. Really? And all of us wake up a little bit later to see the inhabitants of the house gone. Woo! Okay. Yeah. All right. I think I've just about spooked myself out on these spooky ghost stories.
So the box of delights. I think you might even like it, Hobbit. I don't know, but so the plot is Kay Harker is returning from boarding school for Christmas 1934 when he finds himself mixed up in a battle to possess a massive magical box. The current owner of the box is an old Punch and Judy man called Cole Hawkins, played by Patrick Troughton in the TV series. It was Doctor Who, whom Kay meets at the railway station. They develop an instant rapport, which leads Cole to confide that he's being chased by a magician called Abner Brown and his gang, which includes Kay's former governess. The box allows the owner to shrink in size, shapeshift, fly, travel to the past, and experience various magical wonders and creatures, and thus is sought for evil purposes by Abner, Cole, who turns out to be the medieval philosopher and alleged magician Raymond Lull. Have you ever heard of Ramon Lull?
No.
Well, we'll talk about him in a sec. He seems quite interesting as well. He's a real life person. Entrusts the box to Kay. The schoolboy then goes on to have many adventures across time as he protects the box from Abner Brown. During his travels, Kay encounters many characters drawn from English folklore, history, and pagan mythology, including Herne the Hunter, King Arthur, Father Christmas, unicorns, Roman soldiers, and medieval monks. Apparently, there's loads of people that are really, really they're like massive fans of this, and they have like meetups and things. So Ramon Lull, he invented a philosophical system known as the art, conceived a type of universal logic to prove the truth of Christian doctrine and interlocutors of all faiths and nationalities. The art consists of a set of general principles and combinatorial operations. It is illustrated with diagrams. A prolific writer, he is known for his literary works written in Catalan, which he composed to make his art accessible to a wider audience. In addition to Catalan and Latin, he also probably wrote in Arabic, although no text of Arabic survive. His books were translated into Occitan, French, and Castilian during his time. Although his work did not enjoy huge success during his lifetime, he had a rich and continuing reception. In the early modern period, his name became associated with alchemical works. More recently, he has been recognised as a precursor of the modern field of social choice theory, 450 years before Borda and Condorcet's investigations reopened the field. His ideas also prefigured the development of computation theory. He was born in Palma, in Mallorca. Mallorca.
I was going to say,
yeah,
La Palma,
Majorca.
In Majorca, as well as the Canaries.
He was born in the Kingdom of Majorca.
Yeah. Oh, that kingdom. That's part of Spain. It's been for a long time. So
yeah,
don't know why they'd call it that.
He was born in the Kingdom of Majorca in 1229. Quite a good TV series. It's kind of on a par with. It's quite like the C.S. Lewis stuff.
I found something here, and it's half-hour long episodes, so I don't think I can play it. Christopher Lee's Ghost Stories for Christmas.
Ooh.
And they got one called. It's on BBC iPlayer. And it was published in the 23rd of December 2000. So back when there was still a vestige of, maybe we should do programming for all audiences as opposed to what the modern.
It looks like Mark Gatiss brought it back in this year, I think.
Christopher Lee reads the disturbing Victorian ghost stories of writer M.R. James. A century ago, it was James's habit to read one aloud by candlelight every Christmas Eve to a select group of students in the study of.
Apparently, 50 is a 50-year-old thing. The Ghost Stories for Christmas, the BFI say.
Lee tells the fearful tale of intrigue, murder, and the haunted stores of Barchester.
Yes, they're saying that's what kicked it. That's what kicked it off.
I can imagine Christopher Lee telling ghost stories to be really dramatic. He's
got a great voice, hasn't he, Christopher Lee?
I'd suggest you go there right now, but also I suggest you don't.
Listen to the rest of the episode first.
Yeah, you can go and listen to them right now, but I suggest you don't.
Unless we put a pin in it here, and then the last half hour can people doing their own work.
Yeah, why not? I'm up for that.
Yeah. So that's our scary Christmas episode. Then hope you didn't poop your pants.
Ooh.
Spooky.
Can I say to people before it's too late, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you very much for joining us for another year of this.
Yeah.
I don't think we had any shark science this year, or maybe we did.
I don't know. This year came by so quick.
Was some very wacky things happened.
Well, we've done another half century of it. This is episode 251, so we've done.
Yeah. And also, the aliens did the Macarena with the A and a Mio.
Yeah.
And that was very cool. I think it's great. Yeah, really good.
So have a Merry Christmas from all of us here at the Fortean Words. And as ever, stay spooky.
Oh, I'm gonna have mince pie and some sherry.
Yeah, sounds good. Night all.
Night.